Hello, fellow ink drinkers. Editing Aria here. So I just wanted to jump on here real quick before the episode starts to just thank Z for coming on for last week's episode. I realized after I posted the episode and everything like that I never actually properly thanked her for coming on. So this is my big thank you to her for coming on last week to talk about Love Hypothesis. And if you guys really liked, having Z on, let us know, because I can maybe, we could see about talking her into doing another episode or two with us. So without further ado, we're going to today's episode, which is a Pride and Prejudice book theory. Hello, fellow ink drinkers, and welcome back to the Blind Girls Book Talk podcast. My name is Aria.
And I'm Belle.
And we are two sisters who love reading and love books. And so what we've done is we've created this show in order to talk about the things that we love about books, things that we wish we could change, and a whole variety of different topics. Of course, like I said, this is a variety show. So in the past, we have covered book theories, we have covered book to movie adaptations, we've covered buddy reads and recent reads and like book reviews. The list really does go on. But in today's episode, we are going to be talking about another book theory. And this theory is a Pride and Prejudice theory again. And in this case, we are talking about why Lydia ran away with Wickham, which for those of you who have read the book and know everything that happens, you of course know that Lydia decides to run away with Wickham, and eventually they get found out, and when they do, that is when Darcy ends up kind of paying Wickham to marry Lydia to keep Elizabeth's reputation intact and that sort of thing. But because Lydia does know the consequences of running away with Wickham, she does get that. So the question for a lot of people is, why would she do it in the first place? So that being said, Belle, do you have any thoughts about why this could be the case?
One, I think we all know Wickham is a manipulator. Yes. So I think that played into it. I think this was his way of trying to maybe get back at Lizzie in some way.
Yeah, I agree with that. So let's talk about kind of those two things, because I feel like they are together but also separate in their own thing, or in their own way. So Wickham definitely is a master manipulator, and he's done this kind of thing before with Georgie. As we come to find out, he did it with Georgiana, and Darcy was able to stop it, of course, before it actually happened. But still, there is that precedent of he has done these kind of things before, right? So I feel like he definitely is this very manipulative character. But the other kind of part to that is it just because he wants to do that and he wants the money, or is it because that he's looking to get back at Elizabeth? And for me personally, I think the answer to that question is yes. I think that it was one of those things where a lot of different things just kind of aligned, and he was just like, you know what? I'm going to put my manipulative skills to the test and to good use. I'm going to get Lydia to run away with me, and then I'm going to get paid a bunch of money, and that's going to be how that goes.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, there's also the whole, Lydia understands the consequences, but, she's still young and naive and still pretty much she's still in puberty.
Yeah. She is young. She is the youngest of the sisters. So I can get I mean, other than the whole creep factor, I can get how it would be very easy for her. Like, she would be very easy prey. And especially because she's all about wanting to marry a soldier kind of thing. Like, that's one of her big, I want to say character traits, but it's not really a trait. Like, that's just what she wants, right? She wants to marry a soldier. So I think that it definitely makes sense in a way that Lydia wouldn't fully be able to say no to Wickham. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, as my foremost expert on Pride and Prejudice, what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I feel like, she was easy to manipulate by Wickham. Like, he could easily manipulate her. He was a soldier, he had already knew her, and, he wanted to get back at Elizabeth. But I also think she, like, understood, but she was so naive. And, like, it's kind of one of those things where you're young and you know this will happen, but you don't understand the consequences.
Yeah, and I can see that, I guess. But then why else would he, okay, we get why he would do it, but then do you think that she did it purely because he was just like, hey, baby, let's run away and get married?
Yeah, I mean, she's stupid enough.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. She definitely is the most flighty of the girls.
She's the most, out of all the girls, she's the most like Miss Bennet.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. And it is one of those things where you would, if Mr. Bennet had allowed Lydia to go, do you think, or not Lydia,
Kitty?
Yes. If Mr. Bennet had allowed Kitty to go too, do you think he would have still chosen Lydia, or do you think he would have chosen Kitty?
I think he still would have, he still would have went with Lydia, I think.
You think?
I think, because I think Lydia would just be a bit easier to manipulate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and
I don't know, because part of me thinks...
But I feel like he'd also probably try to get another soldier for Kitty.
You think?
I think.
Make it like a,
more harm to the Bennets.
Yeah. But then, other than Elizabeth, what is the whole reason that he would go against the Bennets? Because, I mean, it's well known that, like, they have some money, but they don't have a lot of money, like, compared to, like, the Bingleys and the Darcys and that sort of those people. So why would he, other than Elizabeth, why would he go after one of the Bennet girls?
I mean, look at it this way. He knew that Jane and Bingley were close.
Do you think that he could also get Bingley in on it too?
I think that was his main thing. It may have been another source of him doing it, was he knew that Bingley was in association with the Bennets, and then Bingley would then help the Bennets. I don't think he really knew that, Darcy was...
So, okay, so he was more after the Bingley money, not Darcy's. But then when it happened to be with Darcy, that was just the
icing on the cake.
Yeah. Although, I like that. But at the same time, I think that he did kind of know that feelings were thawing between Elizabeth and Darcy. Do you know what I mean? Like, because... I guarantee, like, just from how Darcy is portrayed of, like, he'll just be, like, staring at Elizabeth. You know what I mean? I feel like Wickham, who would have known him since he was young, would be able to pick up on something like that and be like, oh, he kind of likes her. Fascinating. And then when Elizabeth is talking to him about all the different things that they talk about, and there is kind of this subtle shift, I think that, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's might be part of it too, in a weird way, even though that wasn't the main goal. Maybe he was just being hopeful, and he was kind of like, if I can't get Darcy, then at least I can get a Bingley, and that'll be fine.
Well, look at it this way. Bingley probably most certainly knew about Wickham running away with Georgiana.
Do you think Darcy would tell him?
They're best friends.
I get that, but also this is one of those things where would he really tell his friend that? Because I mean that is a huge possible scandal. And like say what you will, like Bingley is very loyal to like his people and he's a very kind person, but also he doesn't strike me as the Fort Knox type.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I feel like maybe he did just because, you know, it is his sister and to try to save her, he may have been like, Bingley, help me look.
Right. Right. Which, okay, I could get that. I could understand that in that regard. Because, well, yeah, you never really find out how you do find out that Darcy finds Georgiana and Wickham before that goes down.
Yeah.
But you never find out like if he had kind of a full search party going, if he was the only one on the search party. Like,
yeah, I mean, he'd be scouring a whole city.
Right. So, I mean,
by himself.
You would think that he would enlist at least somebody to try to help him. And okay, that would make sense why it would be Bingley.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, do you think that Jane really factored into it at all? Or if it was just like Elizabeth kind of spited me, so I'm going to go after her sister. Her other sister is kind of in love with a Bingley, so maybe he'll pay me money. Like, do you think that's how that went?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it was more so just the whole, I want to get back at Elizabeth
type of thing. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, out of everything, the revenge against Elizabeth really does make the most sense because I think Elizabeth would have been his actual choice for a wife. And had things kind of not gone the way they went, she probably would have married him. You know what I mean? Because he was going to be charming and everything, and then she wouldn't have found out about, you know, she might have not found out about like the gambling debts and stuff until it was too late. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, for her to just be like, yeah, no, because Wickham really is the first love interest. Would you say? Like for her, like the first one that Elizabeth was just kind of like, I'm in.
Yeah. Because like she even says to Jane in the beginning, like, you know, only the deepest love will persuade me into matrimony.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's true. And I think Wickham could give off that, or could act like he was in love with her enough for him to be like, and maybe he truly did care about Elizabeth. I mean, it's never really stated in the book. I personally don't think so. I think he is very much kind of in the lines of like narcissistic jerk.
Yeah, definitely. I just think it was more so of let me try to get money. Let me try to spite Elizabeth and get money.
And Lydia was just like, I know the consequences, but not really.
Understand.
I don't understand. I don't care. Come on, let's go get married.
Yeah.
And she thought he would actually marry her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and it is said in the book, like, if he wouldn't have married her, then all of the girls would never have been able to get married at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is.
Okay. So just to understand the stakes a little bit better, too. All right. Well, that is about all the time that we have for today's episode. Sorry, this one is a little bit shorter, but we do have somewhere that we have to be a little bit later on tonight. So we do need to, be able to finish everything. Of course, if you like what we're doing, and if you like the show, if you've been enjoying the show, please consider liking, commenting, following, reviewing, sharing, all of that good stuff. Of course, if you don't want to, that's fine. Totally understand. But at the same time, it does help us to grow the show, so we would appreciate it. Now, next time, what are we going to be talking about?
Recent reads.
All right. Well, then we will see you guys next time when we talk about that. Bye.